Okay, today I'm going to talk about how to do fire particle emitters. So you can see at the bottom there, you see some fire flaming up. And then when I play the game, then the fire is gone, of course, because I cleared the emitter so that way I don't have any memory leak in the game. So, and then once I die here, it's going to show the fire again. See how it comes up randomly. So I'm going to show you how to do that particle emitter there. And you can adjust this to your liking with the fire. Alright, so the first thing is you have a bunch of images in your sprints. And it's this random animation. So this basically moves. This is like this random images here of a black box, and then you just use white, and then you use an airbrush thing to spray in your image, and then you can go into the image icon and go to blur and blur it so it's not so sharp. And this is kind of like a mask in a way. With all these images here, they're kind of like a mask. So the white is pretty much cut out and so basically the images are kind of going up, but the white area is cut out, so it's showing the particle color behind the cutout. So it's doing these shapes, but these shapes are cut out, oddly. So like I said, the white, once you play the game, the white is pretty much cut out, and it's like a transparency. And so the color is behind this image here, so it shows this shape color when it goes up. So this image pretty much comes from the bottom up, and then, like I said, the emitter color is behind this image here, and this is like a cutout. It acts like a cutout once you play the game anyways. And it's got to be black on white. You can't use a different... You may be able to use a different color, but I would stick with the black and white, because that's pretty much how masking is. You're using black and white to do this. You don't need really a color, because that color is not going to be there. It's only going to be a cutout of that shape. So you can make any shape you want, and probably has to be this size. I think this size is like a 32 by 32. Oh, 64 by 64. Alright, so all these animations happen at once, randomly, showing the color behind it. That's the first step. And the second step, and I could delete this, and then when I play the game, it's going to look different. See, now the color, see how the particles come up, they look all circular shapes. Let me scale this up so you can see it better. That's what it looks like, circular shapes. So that's without the cutout image sprints. I prefer the sprints. Makes it look more interesting in shapes. So like I said, you have this cutout here, and the colors behind this cutout. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is in your objects here. I have an object clear emitter. So in the crate, I have this particle emitter, destroy all, and initiate particle. So this right here, this code right here, this information here is in your scripts here. Initiate particles. That's what it's called. Initiate particles, and you have all this coded information right here that does the particle. So it does the direction, the speed, the life of it. So you could change these numbers here to make them make the particles bigger or smaller. You can change these numbers here to make them go faster. Or slower. And then you can change these numbers here to make them go in a different direction, the particles. And then you can also change the color right here to whatever you want. Right now it's orange and red for fire. And then, like I said, you could probably you could change this to something else besides fire. Whatever Game Maker has in its storage base, you could change to. I haven't really played around with it so much. I just kept it with fire. But you could potentially modify this whole code to do a different type of particle. So you have I'm not really an expert on particles here, so you would really have to play around with this or find something online. I could try to find some links for more particles, give you more ideas, but you would have to change quite a bit of information here to do a different type of particle. But like I said, I don't know too much about it. But you would have to modify this code right here to do something different. If you want to like do ice or something, you would have to kind of change this code. And like I said, Game Maker has some presets already built into it that you could, but you have to modify the code here to make it do a different type of shape and different color and all that stuff. So you would have to play around with that. I'm not going to go into detail with that, but I can try to provide some links for you, and you can some resources. You can dive into it and modify this code to do something different. So that's what this does. It does the blending color. It does the color of the particle. It does the speed, the direction, and the life of it. So the life would be like it goes so far up on screen and then it dies out. So you could change these numbers here to make it go longer on screen or something. So you just got to modify these numbers here to make them go up higher or go down lower, whatever you want to do. So that's the next step, is this script right here. So this emitter will automatically destroy these particles when I go to the next room. So the particles I have set up is in the main screen area. So on this flat area here, behind this is the main screen here, and this is not going to do the 3D. It's going to cut out the 3D. It's going to just be flat 2D, and it's going to do the particles here. And this question mark here is the particles. So it's object underscore fire background. So in the crate, you go to the coded sheet, and this is the information put in. So this right here, initiate particles, that's the script that I just showed you. Then you also add these two lines of code here that I played around with these numbers earlier, and it basically kind of stretches the particles out from left to right. If you change the numbers to a smaller amount, then it keeps it on one side of the screen, not the other. Also, it makes them smaller or larger when you change some of these numbers here. See, I think like this number, this 740, if you change this number to something else, then it makes it smaller, I believe. It makes the number bigger, it makes the particles bigger. Then this, I believe, widens it out on the screen from left to right, and then this number right here, I believe, makes it go up so far and then it stops. I always just like play around with these numbers to get it to your liking. I'm not sure what this one does, of course. I think it deals with the size of it as well. Like one may do scale it out from left to right. The other set of numbers might scale it out from top to bottom. So yeah, I would just play around with these numbers to get it to your liking. And then this right here, you can also change this. This is rectangle and linear, so they're not just going to go straight from top to bottom, and it's going to be straight up. And you could change this so it could have like some kind of motion involved. Because if you type in PS_shape, then you have diamond, ellipse, which is a circle, line, or rectangle. But I think you would only be able to see the change if you're not using the sprint images I talked about. Like if you just use the basic particles with showing them looking like circles, you could probably see a difference in change when you change this information right here. But since you're using the sprint images that are going to be in front with the cutout of the particles in the back, then this information would probably not work so much. You wouldn't see the change pretty much because you have the sprints in front of you and they do the shaping and animation of it. So you probably have to get rid of the sprint images that I showed you that are up here in order to see a change. Then in the step, you have another code, and this does the emitter birth. So this actually makes the whole particle happen. Without this burst, it won't show up on screen. So without this step event, the emitter won't happen. It won't work at all. So this basically starts the process of the particles. And then you could change this number to higher or lower. I think if you do it higher, then it shows less particles. Do lower amount, it shows more particles. Kind of works backwards. And it's visible, and that's pretty much it. The depth really doesn't matter so much. You don't need a sprint information. You don't need no sprint. So it can stay as a question mark. So like I said, I have it on the main screen, the beginning screen, and also have it at the end screen. I have a question mark where it does the particles. And then in room, the main room and the second room, under where it plays the background sound, I have destroy particles, which this right here, it needs to be, that's not going to work. Cut that out. It needs to actually have the other one I talked about at the beginning here, object clear emitter. So you want to have that object clear emitter in here. This is going to actually physically destroy the particles because you don't want them to show up in this room. Because when I did it without the destroy particle emitter, you would see the particles flash on the floor for a couple seconds and then they would disappear. But you need to have this destroy particle emitter in the game because you're going to have a memory leak, and then that would pretty much shut off your game. You know what I'm saying? It may not do it for your computer, your PC, but it would definitely do it for the Android device. It would completely shut off your game. So you need to have emitter destroy all particles in the game. So once you're done with the particles, you don't want them to, you know, keep animating, then you want them to be cleared and destroyed. Probably need to have that in there as well. I don't know. It's probably not a big deal so much. No, it's not going to work. I would just destroy all. It should work. So I would put that in the first room, and then in the second room you want to have the same thing. You want to make sure you destroy the particles. Because when you load the game, it may show the particles when you click the load button. So you're going to make sure to destroy the particles there too, because they may show up and there might be some kind of glitch in the game when you load. So you want to make sure you clear the particles too on the second room. Any other room you create, I would do the same thing. So let me just test this out one more time here. So it does the animation here. Start it. It doesn't show any of the particles, because I remembered it showing it on the ground on the floor there for a couple of seconds, but it doesn't show it there. I'm gonna go to the second room and then load it up and see what happens to make sure it works okay, and it should. I'm going to press the load button and see what happens. Make sure it's not going to be glitchy on me or something. Yeah, it looks like it did fine. No glitches in the game. Okay, so that's how you do the fire particles. I do have another video on fire particles, and that was on I was demonstrating how to do a fire animated background, and you can find that down below on my YouTube channel. But it's directed for Game Maker Studios. So if you just want to just see the fire emitter, you can look at that video, which is probably like 15 videos down from this video right here or something. So you can check that out. I can also make a link in the description below, so it makes it a little easier to find it. Alright, well, thanks for watching.